Okay, getting back on our heads here. So I just got done doing a bunch of porting in here and cleaning up the new cut. So now we got a nice smooth transition up into our valve seat area that we just did. So it's nice and clean. All this got opened up quite a bit bigger for more top end. So that's what they're going to look like now in the bike. So they go up in there pretty evenly. So, alright, so now we're going to figure out our cam lift, our coil bind spring clamps, our install heights, and all that stuff, see what we got here. So first thing I do is look in the cam sheet here and see what our overall lift is. So it looks like it's 425 is our overall lift. And our TD lift is 210 by 180, which I don't think we'll ever have to worry about the valve sitting on a Sportster. But we can check it. So basically 210 by 190. And we got 425 overall lift. So that's why you don't throw away all your instruction sheets. They actually have information on there it's worth keeping. Okay, so first thing I do is figure out our coil bind of these springs we got. So we need that and something to measure with. Probably gonna need one of these. Need all four of these though. Let's go see what we got here. Yeah. It's hard to look up. I got my holding that too. Alright, let's go over here. No more head work today, I hope. Well, maybe. We'll find out. So, we'll go over here. See what we got. Come on, let my finger go. Damn. Yeah, almost dropped it. It's such hard to work with one hand all the time. Okay, I got a light. We can see again. I got a nice cardboard box back in view. And a tripod stand on my way. Okay, so first thing I do is figure out what we got for our installed height and our coil bind. So basically we're going to take this spring and pinch it all the way down until it don't move no more. That'd be called a hard coil bind. So you want to measure on the flat part of the spring, not the radius part here. So it's flat right here and it's flat all through here. So anything around this area here is easy to measure. Just put it in your vise right in the middle. Middle of the vise, middle of the spring. Get your yardstick here and measure it. So it looks like we're about 8'10" or so. Just measure all four of these. And we'll see what we got. That one's about 820 or so, 825. Hello. Maybe. Okay, 74 Sporty, got it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How much slop does the kicker bushing have on the sleeve, and how much clearance on the sleeve of the clutch gear? Are they really loose on there, or are they relatively tight? I don't care if it's new, I care about how much clearance it has. If it has a lot of rock in that, on that whole system, then it'll flip over and drag. So that makes it worse on that part. The other thing is the inner sleeve spacer. They make that two different lengths. They make one that's 1 3/16 and one that's 1/16 roughly. So if you have the earlier one, which is a short one on there, you're going to drag. So you need to measure that and see what length you got. Yep, that's the correct one for 71 and up, and the short one is for the 70 and earlier bikes. Could be. Alright, we're back again. There's my face. So I had to do some tech call there for about 20 minutes, half hour, whatever it's been. Okay, we'll get back to our valve springs. So I did all the valve spring measurements here. So these three are the same. This one here is 15 thou higher. So we'll keep it separate so we know which one's which here. And now I got to figure out what we got. So now we can do some numbers called math. So everybody's eyes kind of gloss over a little bit, but kind of you have to do a little bit of it. Now here's my information here from Manly on the springs they got. So they tell you the installed height they want is 1.310. Let's see what we really need. So we got to take our coil bind dimension, which was 810 was a low one. So 0.81. You add in 50 thou clearance just to be safe. You could run more, but that's minimum. And the cam lifted 425, 0.425 equals. So we need 0.285. So 310 is quite a bit more. So basically this one here we need 300 on it. This one here we can be under 300. That'd be 1.300. Their springs put out 85 pounds at 310, so I guess that's what they think stock install height is. I don't know. All I know is the minimums. I deal with minimums. I don't care about higher numbers. It has to fit without having problems. That's all that matters to me. Okay, so now we got a dimension we got to work from. Now we got to figure out what we got. So I need a couple checking springs. These are just some light springs I can use here. There we go. There's three. I only need one or two. Okay, so this is our front head. This one here is a front valve, so we'll use that one. So we're going to just do a quick mock up here of the valve train to see what we got. So we stick a spring in there, stick the upper and lower collar obviously, and a pair of keepers. Now you can use the real springs if you want, but it's obviously a lot easier to use these checking springs. Pull them a little bit, make sure they're in there where they belong. Let's see, measure stick in pocket. Okay, so we need basically we need 1/300, or a little under. Okay, so right off the bat we're under that. So I don't know if you can read it, but we are down there about 260-ish. Yeah. Pretty close to 260, so we're short. We need 85 minimum. So we got to pick up 15 thou on this exhaust valve. Now this is the one that was the one I didn't cut very deep. So looks like we're going to have to go recut that one. Or we got to do some other things to get clearances. You know, we can do things like take this collar and cut the bottom side out. We can buy a set of Manly collars that have cut out automatically, so we don't have to do it. They give you an extra 50, that'd be plenty. You can go in here and cut the guide down and cut that shoulder, which will lower it down. Or you can cut the seat deeper. Cutting the seat deeper takes away life out of the head and lowers the compression a little bit. So you have to figure out which one you want. Okay, the intake valve, that's the rear one, front one. Okay, we're going to do the same thing again. See what kind of numbers we got. It's with both keepers in, a collar can fall off. Okay, come back up here and check it again. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, we're about 315-ish or so. So we're good to go on that one. We can actually put a shim on that if we want. I'm not really sure if I want to put a shim on anything. Okay, let me get over where I can actually measure it myself a little bit better, where I can see it. Looks like we're about 310. So that means we can put a 20 thou shim in there, which we don't make. We can put a 15 thou shim in there, which I don't think I have. Maybe if it's that close, I don't worry about it. So it looks like the intake's good to go on the front head. Exhaust, no way. Okay, so now we do the rear head. We take the rear valve, that's one with the R on it. And we check this one, see what we got. Now if you don't do this kind of stuff, you can have problems when the bike runs. Remember we had 50 thou coil bind clearance, and we're only short, what, about 25 short. So that means it would still run. Wouldn't be as safe if you, the valve spring might not, it's probably not going to be as happy and it might break, but it would run. It wouldn't be safe, but it would run. Sometimes if you got negative clearances, then you have problems. Okay, this one here looks like about right on the same spot, about 310-ish, maybe 15. I'm not got a good view at this angle. So it looks pretty close. So it looks like the intakes are pretty equal. So we're good. Intakes, no problem. Okay, exhaust. Should be the rear. Now this one here, we're about 8 thou different, I think is the number I had before, between this head and the other head. Let's see if that works out on actual installed height also. Okay, let's see what we got on this one. Woo! That's an exhaust. What the hell happened there? Maybe I was reading my scale wrong. I'm at 370. 1.370 here. What the hell? That exhaust is sunk! Way down there. It's about 370-ish. Okay, so was I on the wrong number on the other one? I'm thinking I probably was. So this is way, way low. Let's go take a big shim. Sixteenth shim, I think. 59, close enough. Okay, let's see. Make sure your shim fits inside the collar correctly. It appears to be good. So maybe I read the scale wrong on the other valve, because I don't think they were both off by that much. Yeah, come on. Come on, keeper. That's one way of fixing the problem. Drop the keepers on the floor. It's a good thing we got more. Okay. There's the other one. I got two keepers on the floor now. Okay, that puts me about 1,320-ish or so. Right there. And you can read that or not. Okay, so that equalized the problem on that one. So the exhaust valve is going to get a 60. Okay. I got three keepers on the floor. Doing a good job. Two of them. Yeah, I think the other one disappeared. Yeah, I'll have to find it later. Oh, there it is right in front of me. I was standing straight up so I couldn't see it. Okay, front exhaust. There's front exhaust. Let's go see what I measured wrong. Well, I'm guessing I measured it wrong. It's hard to believe one is sunk 100 thou more than the other. Oh yeah, that was the problem. Yep, that's 1.365 270, not 2. So I thought these exhaust valves were higher than the intakes. They're actually lower, quite a bit lower. So I'm going to take the 60 thou shim we just used on the other one, stick it on this one. So the good thing I didn't cut these guides any shorter. That's why you want to measure this stuff before you go cutting. Okay, make sure the keeper, see how the keeper is not in there correctly. Okay, I measure this one. So we're about 320-ish again, about 1,320. Okay, so that puts us kind of in the ballpark where we're going to be. So you wouldn't think the exhaust valve was sunk 60 thou more in the intake, but it is. It's actually sunk about 70, 75 more, but sure don't look like it though, but it is. Oh well. These valves are made longer in stock, which is always a possibility. You never know. Manufacturer defects. Alright, so now I can either shim these up to max to get maximum valve spring tension on these, or I can leave them a little bit soft. So we're about 310. I can put a 15 thou shim more on everything. Bring it up to the minimum. And if the guy's going to run the piss out of the bike, I would do that. I don't know how hard this guy's going to run this bike. It'll still rev up there pretty good, over 7,000, not be a problem. But if you're going to start pushing things to 7,500, I'll start shimming these up a little bit higher. But I think we're probably safe where we're at. So that's good to go. So now that we know how much shim we're going to use, which is none and then one shim on each valve. Shim. Okay, now we got to check our other dimension that matters, is our guide. We're going to put a valve seal on here. We've got to make sure we got room for the seal to go on here. So the valve guide's right at 300, so this one's good with a shim. Next thing I'll check is the clearance in here. So we got to check our clearance from here to here. So the keeper goes right there. We got to make sure the collar's got clearance. Inside of here for the seal too. So right off the bat we're going to have, looks like about 600. Yeah, we're just over 600, about 610 clearance here. Okay, so the lift, we'll get the cam is 430. We should have about 50. I can live with 30. So we'll call it 550 we need minimum. The seal is going to be 100 to 125. So that's going to put us just under 600. So we got enough clearance. Otherwise we'd have to do some cutting. Because the valve seal, you got to make room for the valve seal. Now these are K-line valve seals. That's the one we're clearancing for. They're 300 thou deep. Like I said, they're 100 to 125 with a seal up. They're 100 thou right now, but sometimes the seal up sticks up pretty far, another 25. So when they're installed on here, that's what you got for clearances. This is the seal that comes in all the gaskets. This is a lot better seal. The problem is, there's no room for these things. These are about 175 tall to 150 tall, and they're a lot deeper. About 400 deep as I recall. Yep, 400. Right in there. So it's 100 thou deeper, which you should see right in here. Whoop. So you see how it's deeper. It's about the same height. And then they stick up higher. So you lose clearance on both sides. So right now we only got an extra, with this seal in there, we only got an extra 20-25 thou max. And that's using our lower install height number. This seal here, we would be negative about 1/8 of an inch. So these things would be crunching flat down and causing issues in there. And this is kind of stuff that comes in all the gaskets. Everybody sells this seal here, because this is just a cheap ass import so you can buy anywhere. These K-lines are only made by K-line, they're harder to come by. You don't see them very often anymore. I have to buy them directly from K-line to even get them, because nobody stocks them anymore, except Ted Cycle still maybe has them. Of course they charge you a fortune for them, but oh well. So that's another thing about seals, buy the correct seals. If you don't, you will have problems. Okay, so last thing I got to check here is, let's see where this lower collar is. I'm measuring right to my keeper groove here, so this might not be the low spot. You have to find out. Okay, it looks like the keeper groove is the low spot. Thought it was. Now one trick you can do to gain a little extra, the seal is tapered. You can taper this here a little bit right here on the bottom, and the seal will come up and go in there. But see, right now it sits on there flat, and we have this much side-to-side clearance in it, see? So we already got that built in. That seal's going to really spread way up to take up all this clearance here, see? So this can actually stick through 20-30 thou into this until it hits the actual keeper. It'll probably hit the keeper before it hits the collar. So even though you got some hard measurements, some of those are fudging a little bit. Okay, so the exhaust is no problem. And that means the intake should be no problem also maybe? No, it's a little bit lower. I'm going to have to cut the exhaust, the intake I mean. So let's check this one. This one should be lower. Yep, we're about 540. So we're short. So we have to shorten this valve guide up. Because this one sits down here. We have 370 thou sticking out above the top of the collar. And we need that because we're short here because we only got 540 here where the other one had 600. We only have an extra 15 or 20 extra, so we need a little extra, maybe 20 extra. So we need to gain at least 50 thousandths on this number. So the intakes we're going to cut, the exhaust we're not. So right now the guide height on this is about 480-ish. I usually come down to about 420 to 430. And we need to do that on intakes. Exhaust, no. The intake, yes. We'll go cut those. Get our clearance we need. Alright, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to take our head. We're going to grab our cutter, which is those things right there. I'll be back for that. I'm going to go over here to the drill press and do some cutting. Okay, so I'm going to set you up over here. We can kind of see a little bit what I'm doing. A little bit light doesn't hurt. A block of wood at. Oh, somebody's been helping me out here. Somebody's been drilling holes in my board for me again. Now I have 2 holes in my board. I'm going to have to get on someone's ass about that. And we're trying to do it again up in here, I see. That's a precision milled board. I milled that on the milling machine. It's square. Yep, it's milled square and flat. Okay, we need that. Need that. And we need this. This is our cutter. It cuts the seal diameter down, and then it cuts the overall height down when it hits down in this area. And if you really go deep, it'll actually shorten the guide up too. But you gotta go down to about 390 before that engages. We're gonna stop about 420-ish, 430. I'm thinking 420. I'll put a little bit of oil on the stem. Up there, not down there. It lubricates the guide a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do the intake only. So I have this tube that's radiused, and it sits inside of the radius port in here like this. Holds it, supports it, see. It's self-centering a little bit. So we have to hold it over here. Appears we're a little bit too high. There you go. Jam the pilot in the guide, it'll screw up the guide hole, so you gotta make sure you get the head square up before you try to do this. So you take a cut on the guide, see where you're at. We're up to about 440, 450 right now. We'll cut more. Down there about 420-ish or so. I can read that on camera. I'm going to do the other one. 425 right now. Okay, that one's good to go. See what it looks like. Trimmed. I'm about 400 on this one, but a little extra. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and deburr the hole here a little bit. So we take our deburring tool. That ain't the right one. That's the right one. I'll do the other guy too. Blow them off. They're way too close. It knocks the sharp edge off. Sharp edges are bad. Okay, the last thing I like to do is run a pilot in the hole to make sure it's burnished in correctly after all the machine marks in there. So we take our valve guide pilot and we just jam it in there a couple times to make sure there's nothing going on in there. Take it once, wipe it, and put it in there. If you feel anything stupid in there, you do it. So this is our exhaust, which we just did. All we did was deburr, we didn't do anything else. I'll go up further around here, you can see better. So now we do the intake over. This one we actually cut. Oh, 5/16, not 11/32, dumbass. Used to work on a motor to have all the same stems and all the guides. Ironheads are different. Okay, do that, wipe it. Clean it out, looks good. Next one. Put it in the intake hole helps. It's a little bit loose for the exhaust here. Okay, so these are all burnished in. So at this point here I'm going to clean everything all up. Go back to get more hot and sweaty. So we'll go clean these all up and then get ready for assembly. So that'll be next.